Hello, welcome guys, welcome to the 3D market commentary for today, April 8th. Today is Thursday. Hope you're having a good trading week so far. My name is Becky. I think my header's in the way, but my email address is just there on its side. It's becky@tradictive.com. So even if you can't see it, hopefully that's easy to remember. So you can ask me questions or email me if you have any doubts or anything as we go through the sessions. Now, just before we start, I'm just going to make sure that we cover the disclaimers. Let's just get those up there on the screen. There you go. So obviously important that you guys read disclaimers, not just for legal reasons, but also to understand what you can expect from these kind of things and what they're for and what they're not for. So those are those disclaimers there just being highlighted on the screen. So hopefully you guys have had time to read them. If not, you can come back and read them later. Now, I mentioned my email address, but there is also this link here, tradewithufos.com/Becky. Just going to bring that up. There we go. So that's this link here. Now, if you go to this bit at the start, which is your free Trade with UFOs membership, and put in your name, email address, and then follow through the steps, you'll get a free Trade with UFOs membership. Once you have a free Trade with UFOs membership, you'll get various things like reminders for the sessions that we have on YouTube, recordings for the sessions we have on YouTube, the odd discount every now and then. But you'll also get permission to ask questions in this public space. Now, what that means is other people can see the question and other people can see the answer. So if you're thinking of something, you're confused about something, and you come here, it may be that the question you have, somebody already asked, in which case the answer is already there. You don't need to email us and wait. So if you have a question that's not yet on there, then you can come and ask this question here. Other people can then learn and do exactly the same thing that you would have done if you had your question already there. Hopefully that makes sense. Also, once you've got this free membership, you'll get the email that I'm about to go through today every day. So this is what we go through in the market commentary. So the market commentary is based on an email that gets sent out every day, which is obviously relevant to the markets. So in this email that we send out, we go through 5 of the major markets in the world, and we look at 3 core elements of it. It's why we call it a 3D approach. So the 3 approaches that we go through, or the three elements that we go through, first things first is market climate. Should we be long or short? Meaning, should we buy or sell? Do we have probabilities to the upside? Do we have probabilities to the downside? That's obviously something that's really useful to know, because it helps us to know what we're going to do, buy or sell. Now, we use this app here. It's called the Auto Climate app. This is a free app. Again, once you've got your free Trade with UFOs membership, you can go and download this app for TradingView or TradeStation. And on here, we'll see a series of different coloured dots that have different sort of thicknesses, shall we say. So we could have a thick blue dot, and that's the Auto Climate app telling us that you have probabilities to the upside. We could have a thick red dot. That's the Auto Climate app telling us we have probabilities to the downside. Or we could have a thin dot of either colour, doesn't actually matter the colour. The thinness of the dot is it telling us that there's not enough probabilities either way, so keep away. Sometimes the answer to the question, should we be long or short, is neither, and that's okay. And that's the Auto Climate app's way of telling us that. So probabilities to the upside, downside, or nowhere, we see that with our Auto Climate app. Then we want to look at unfilled orders, UFOs. Now, I know these look like little flying saucers, but UFO in this case stands for unfilled orders. Now, unfilled orders means that in the markets, it's just right down to its basics, what pushes price upwards is if we have more buy orders and less sell orders. What pushes price downwards is if we have more sell orders and less buy orders. That's kind of the physics of the market, as it were. So what the Auto UFO app is doing is scanning through the markets and coming back and showing us and giving us the price range on the side here as to where we have between these 2 prices stacks of orders. Either stacks of buy orders if it's a green UFO, if it's a red UFO, it'd be a stack of sell orders. I'll show you that in a minute. So it's showing us where these orders are. That then helps us for our entries and our exits, because we want to buy where there's loads of other buying going on, because it's more likely to push price upwards. And if we buy, we want price to go up. We want to sell, there's loads of other selling going on, because it's more likely to push price downwards. So we want to be part of that. So the UFOs scan through the markets and show us where exactly that is. So we'll look at that per market as well. And then last things last, we look at market volatility. So risk to reward is something that is really, really important when we trade. We all have different opinions and different feelings as to risk tolerance. Market volatility gives us an idea of how much the risk is going to be, and therefore how much potential reward there would be. If it's extremely volatile, the risk goes up. That can also mean the reward goes up. If it's really low volatility and it doesn't move very much, then the risk is lower and the reward is lower. So again, we balance these things as individuals, but I'll go through that and explain per market what we can expect up or down in terms of fastness or speed as to how quickly these markets are going to move. So market climate, where do we have probabilities? UFOs, where specifically are those orders for us to get involved with? And volatility, what's the risk that's involved in these markets? We'll go through that per market. Now, just to say, we are looking at daily charts of each of these markets. So of course, if you trade markets that are, or time frames that are much smaller or much bigger, then things will be different. But these are all relevant to a daily chart. And we're also looking at futures contracts that represent these markets. So again, bear that in mind. Okay, so let's start with the S&P. So the S&P 500 is an index or a group of the top 500 US stocks. We are looking at the ES. On TradingView, the symbol is ES1 exclamation mark. That is the continuous symbol for us looking at the futures contract of the S&P. If you don't understand a word I just said, just understand we're looking at a representation of the US stock market. Now, when it comes to the US stock market, with market climate, we have a confirmed upwards climate probability to the upside. We see that because we have a thick blue dot there on our auto climate. Now, usually, this market would go up for 9 candles. That's what these stats show us. I know it says 8.78, but I'm just going to round up. Whatever the decimal places are, round up, because we can't have decimal places of candles. So it usually goes up for 9 candles, and we're on candle number 8. So that tells us that we have probabilities of at least another day to the upside based on what usually happens. Now, of course, sometimes we fall short of what usually happens. Sometimes we go past what usually happens. And the expectation is that what usually happens is going to be more or less more probable, but not going to be definite. It's not going to happen like that every single time. I've just realised that my mic is behind my laptop, so you might not be able to hear me very well. So sorry about that if you couldn't hear me very well. I'm going to speak a little bit louder now. Hopefully that works. Okay, so with the S&P, still probability of a continuous move up, at least for a day or so, based on what usually happens. Not a guarantee, it's just more probable. Now with UFOs, we have no sell UFOs, nothing above us, no sell orders, but we do have a stack of buy orders just beneath us. The numbers for that are 3983.75 to 3933.75. That's where we have the closest stack of buy orders between those two prices. Now, market volatility, we expect a movement up or down in one day on the S&P of 43.79 points. In 1 week, it would be up or down of 96.40 points. And in 1 month, up or down of 200.67 points. Now again, these are giving us an idea of roughly what we can expect up or down. We use our climate and UFOs to help us figure out in which direction those things are more likely to happen. Now, at least within another day or so, we would expect a continuous move up based on what the probabilities are from the technology that we use. Again, nothing's a guarantee, it's just a probability, so we manage our risk just in case, but overall with the S&P, probability is there to the upside. Okay, let's move on to the next market, which is oil. In the meantime, there's a little thing there that says about the courses that we do. If you want to learn how to trade futures or stocks or Forex, you can register for those courses. There's also courses on how to build trading plans, how to test those plans, and how to manage your trading psychology. So you just need to go to our website, or you can click on that link. The website is tradewithufos.com, and have a look at the courses. Most of them come with a 3-month complimentary access to the UFOs. Now, AutoClimate is a free app anyway, but the AutoUFOs, depending on which platform you use, come at a cost. So they are included in the courses. So that's one way to get the UFOs. Okay, so with oil, we have a confirmed downwards climate. We see that because we have a thick red dot there. Usually this market would go down for 8 candles. Again, I'm just rounding it up. And we're on candle number 3, which means we have room based on what usually happens for a continuous move to the downside. Again, we could fall short, we could go past it. Based on what usually happens, we've got another few days of a move to the downside based on probabilities. Now, when it comes to UFOs, this is our first look at a cell UFO. This is what they look like. Little red flying saucers and highlighted with the price on the right-hand side. Closest stack of sell orders there are from 66.40 to 63.60. Then we have big stack of buy orders just here. In fact, they've already worked. You can see here, price came and touched it at this point and then moved up, came back and touched it and then moved up. That's what we expect buy orders to do, is push price to the upside. That's why we want to be told where they are, and that's what the AutoUFO app does for us. The numbers for that top set of UFOs are 57.29 to 54.81. Now, market volatility. we would expect movement up or down in one day of 1.54 points. In 1 week, it would be up or down of 3.39 points. And in 1 month, it would be up or down of 7.05 points. Again, that's up or down, general movements that we would expect within those periods of time. Overall, probabilities there to the downside with oil, although bear in mind, we do have buy orders closer to us, so they could change the direction of price and push it back up. But for the time being, probability there to the downside overall with oil. Okay, moving on to the next market, which is gold. Now, as I said there before, the AutoUFOs, this app that we use to help us figure out exactly where these orders are, where we're going to buy and sell, those are paid for. So it depends what app you use or what platform you use. But on TradingView, which is the one I'm looking at here, the UFOs are $34 per month, or you get them as a yearly discount. So you can subscribe directly to the apps. You don't need to do the courses in order to have the apps. You can subscribe directly to the app by going to that link, or again, going to the website. If you want to get them as part of a course and kind of get a discount on both by doing that, then you can get a course and get 3 months access to the UFOs. Okay, so gold, we have an unconfirmed climate with gold. We see that because it's a thin dot, doesn't really matter the color. So yes, it says it's an upwards climate, but the fact that it's unconfirmed kind of negates that, right? We don't have enough probabilities to really call it either way. So normally we just keep away from markets like that. If we don't have enough probabilities one side or the other, then we're trading for the sake of trading for the sake of filling time, not worth it. So we would normally keep away. Now when it comes to buy and sell UFOs, we have a buy UFO that is just here. That's 1734.4 to 1721.6. Now, I'm just going to spread this out a little bit just to show you. There we go. Again, that this buy UFO has already worked. So we had buy UFO that touched here, and then price moved up. That's what we expect buy orders to do. So again, the buy UFOs show us where that's likely to happen. Now, based on that, I wouldn't be surprised to see this change, our auto climate change, to a thick blue dot over the next couple of days and confirm itself to the upside, because we've had this short move to the upside, buy orders that have appeared below us that have then pushed it even further up. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this confirm itself to the upside. Now when it comes to sell orders, closest stack of sell orders is this one here. Numbers for that are 1815.2 to 1782.2. So obviously we're slightly closer to the buy orders there. Overall, not enough probabilities on gold to call it either way, but I would be looking out for it to confirm itself to the upside over the next day or so. Now, with market volatility, we would expect movement up or down in 1 day of 17.69 points. In 1 week, it would be up or down of 38.95 points. And in 1 month, up or down of 81.08 points. Again, with gold overall, that's what we expect, up or down. Not clear in which direction, definitely right now, but I would expect movement to the upside in the next couple of days, so let's keep an eye out for that. Okay, so just to say, before we move on to the next market, we offer coaching. Of course, we offer free YouTube sessions where you can come and watch us trade and understand what we're doing, and we talk you through what we're doing. There's also paid for coaching where you get a little bit more of our time in a closed environment. That's $21 per month, or again, part of bulk discounts or yearly discounts as well. So just to point that out, if you felt like following what we do in a closed environment would be helpful to you. Okay, next market is the US dollar. Now the US dollar is responsible for 80% of transactions worldwide every single day. It's an important beast. We should be aware of it, even if we don't trade it, even if we don't trade things that we think are correlated. It will have an effect on all of the other markets that we go through in these sessions and pretty much every other one in the world. So just be aware of what the dollar is doing, even if you don't trade it. Now when it comes to the US dollar, again we have a little bit of indecision, unconfirmed climate. We have a thin red dot there. Doesn't matter that it's thin. It doesn't matter that it's red. Doesn't matter that it's down. What matters is that it's thin. What matters is that we don't have enough probabilities to call it either way. Now when it comes to buy and sell UFOs, we have sell UFOs just here. Numbers for that are 93.125 to 92.840. And then we have stack of buy orders just here. 91.405 to 90.635. And again, these buy orders have already worked. Price hit the UFO here and moved up. Came back, hit the UFO here and moved up. That's what we expect them to do. That's why we use the UFOs to show us, hey, this is where price is likely to turn. To either go up if it hits buy orders or go down if it hits sell orders. Again, We're kind of in the middle here between them. Not enough to call on the climate and not close enough to either stack of buy or sell orders to really call it either way. So again, kind of indecision there on the dollar. In terms of volatility, we'd expect movement up or down in one day of 0.83 points. In 1 week, 0.38 points. In a week, it would be 0.83 points up or down. And in 1 month, it would be 1.72 points up or down that we would expect. So again, over on the dollar, not really much to call at the moment. Now, last market is Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin is more volatile than the others. Nothing wrong with that, just be aware of it. It is newer than the other markets, and it's obviously a different asset class. This is a cryptocurrency. We're still looking at the futures that represent this Bitcoin. But again, bear in mind that with the nature of cryptos, they tend to be a little bit more volatile. Now, in terms of climate, again, we have an unconfirmed climate. We see that here, thin red dot, which means not enough to call it. Now, we do happen to be inside a big stack of buy orders. No sell orders above us in this market, but the buy orders that we have are from 57,662.5 to 50,645.0. Now, we expect buy orders to push price up. It's already pushing price up a little bit. We have a green candle there. So perhaps this buy UFO will push price upwards, reconfirm the climate to the upside. At the moment, though, the climate is telling us that we don't really know. We don't really have enough probabilities either way. So again, just keep away from it. Change time frame, change market. With volatility, we would expect movement up or down in one day of 2,609.38 points. In 1 week, it would be up or down of 5,744.29. And in a month, it would be up or down of 11,957.70. Now, those are way more volatile than the other markets. Nothing right or wrong about it. With volatility comes extra risk, could also come greater reward. So you have to bear that in mind for yourself as an individual trader, how you feel about risk, and therefore the type of volatility you would trade, or the amount of volatility you would trade. Okay, so that's it in terms of the markets. So again, we've got overall on actually, I think 3 out of our 5 markets, a little bit of indecision. We had probability to the upside with the S&P, probability to the downside with oil, based on the technology that we use and the statistics that it gives us. Now, just to come down and say, when we're on the topic of volatility, be aware of high impact news that might come out and affect the markets that you trade. You could ignore this entirely. You could use this to decide not to trade those things at all for that day, or to reduce your risk, or to reduce your trading. Again, that's ultimately up to you how you interpret this. But if you just go to the fxstreet.com/economic calendar, you can find, or /economic-calendar, you can then filter by high impact news and the markets that you trade. We've got pretty much every country in the world there, or the major economies in the world. And just filter by what you trade in high impact news. You'll have an idea of volatility that may be coming into the markets as a result of the news. Okay, so any questions, again, you can email me, becky@tradictive.com, but there's also tradewithufos.com/Becky. Get yourself a free membership. That way you can get the email that goes through all of these statistics every day. You'll also be able to ask a question publicly down here so that I can answer it publicly, and then we all as a community learn with each other. So as I said, we do free YouTube sessions, so take a look around, join us on the sessions that we have upcoming today, and most of the time they're every day. So join us on those sessions for free on YouTube. If you have any other questions, you can let us know. And then just to round off by saying, you may have other questions and you would like to self-schedule a clarification call, and you can do that by clicking on that button there. That way you can chat to one of our experts and figure out, do I need to use the apps? Could I just use the Auto Climate one? What courses do I want to do? Is coaching right for me? Should I just have the free membership? Should I do nothing? And talk it through with somebody if you're confused. So you can self-schedule a clarification call there. Otherwise, guys, have a great Thursday. I'll be back tomorrow morning to round off the week. Have a great trading day, and I will see you tomorrow.